Hello and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, hi, I'm Cassidy. Or Little Red Riding Hood that has been recently attacked by the wolf, but I didn't have a red cape, so I went red outfit, black cape, but like, you know, I feel like it still makes sense. I'm pretty sure you can guess what time of year it is just by this. But if you can't, I'll help you out. It's spooky season, which is one of my favorite times of the year because like I get to do this to myself. And how cool is this? Like, I'm so proud. This is the first time I've ever worked with wax as a medium. I normally would use like cotton and tissue and latex, but I tried wax for the first time. Anyways, other than the cool Halloween makeup that we have for my TBR, it is time to actually do my TBR. And for that, we get to play 2 TBR games. Not 1, but 2. We will be playing Snakes and TBR Stacks like we always do, which is my Snakes and Ladders inspired TBR game. It's really simple. I'll roll a die. If I hit a snake, I go down and I add another roll. And if I hit a ladder, it's like a little reward. But we will also be playing Spookopolython to make my TBR. And I'm going to try to do no repeats. So we're going to have a big TBR. I do have 2 book clubs that I'm a part of, but like always, I will talk to you about them if they don't make it into the TBR at the end of the video. Other than that, I have a pretty chill month, so let's just get right into the rolls. We ended on Chunky, so that's where we're gonna start. 2. 1, 2. Roll 1, we landed on book club, which is already starting off strong in my opinion because I always have book club reads I need to get on the TBR. For this one, I will be picking the Backlist Bookclub book, which is Holy Sister. We do have a live show already scheduled for this, so I'm really excited to get to it. Our live show is November 6th, I believe, and so I need to get this done in October. This is the last and final book of the Book the Ancestor trilogy. If you're not sure what Book the Ancestor is about, it is about Nona Gray, who ends up at a convent for assassin nuns, and she may or may not be the chosen one in a world where the ice is ever expanding and there's only so much Greenland left to live on. She might be the chosen one to stop the ice. A nice and easy pick for me because this is a reread and Book the Ancestor is one of my all-time favorite series. So thanks to the Snakes and Ladders board for being nice to me for once. Roll 2. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Friend pick. The next roll is friend pick, and Mel did ask me to be on her TBR this month, so I thought it was only fair if I asked her to be on my TBR, even though Patricia the Ghost may have replaced mine.
I think both of these are ones that you were planning to read anyway, so hopefully one of them works. Just pick whichever one you're in the mood for. The first is What Kind of Mother by Clay McLeod Chapman. I really want to read this. I've heard it's what the crap with crabs, so I'm very curious to see what your thoughts of it are. And then the other option is Blood Solace by Bella Roth. I also really want to know what your thoughts are on this, and I know that we both need to get to this sequel, so your choice. I hope one of them works.
A very big thank you for Mel because I am so excited about What Kind of Mother, and that's the one I will be picking because Clay McLeod Chapman is a previous 5-star author from me. I literally loved Ghost Eaters when I read it earlier this year, 5 stars, and so I can't wait to read What Kind of Mother. This is a Southern Gothic missing child story that involves like body horror. I've seen a lot of people just saying like what the heck to this book and being like it's really weird in the best way possible, and that's what Ghost Eaters was too. Like it was just so weird in the best way possible. So I'm really excited to get to this. I'm really hoping it's a 5-star for me. Roll 3. 9 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Opposite cover. And then we landed on opposite cover, and opposite cover means the opposite cover of the last book. Things that I'm picking opposite cover for is the author is on the bottom, so I'd be looking for an author on the top, and it is really constrained to like a small spot on the cover. Like it's very simple, everything is kind of in the center. So for this, I picked The Haunting of Leigh Harker by Darcy Coates. So on this cover, it really takes up the entire cover. It doesn't really just revolve around a box on the cover as well as the author on top, the title on the bottom. I thought they worked really well. They're also opposite tones of like bluish green. This one's a little bit more green, but I would still call it blue. It's like a teal, and this is like more blue. So I think that that really worked, and I'm excited for both of them. I don't really know what The Haunting of Leigh Harker is about. Darcy Coates is an author I just trust, and I want to read her entire backlist for. I'm guessing a haunted house story. I'm excited for this one. It is pretty far down the line of my Darcy Coates reads. I've read a lot of them so far, so I'm pretty sure she won't let me down, and I'm really excited for this one. Roll 4. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we landed on Illustrated Spine, and so for this I'm picking another book club read. Sav from Riveting Reads kindly asked me to co-host the Lights Out Book Club in October, and I'm so excited for the book that got picked. We'll be reading There's No Way I Die First by Lisa Springer, which is a YA slasher about a main character who loves horror movies, and when she throws a birthday party and a killer clown comes, there's no way she'd die first, right? I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a YA slasher. I just eat that stuff up. It's one of my favorite types of stories, so I'm really excited to see if I really like this one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we do have just like the cover art is on the spine, so I'm counting it as an illustrated spine. I also love this cover. And thank you again to Sav for asking me to be a co-host for this. I will link Sav down below as well as the other co-host, which is Cat Chats. You should definitely go subscribe to both of them. I'm really excited for us to talk about this. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we landed on romance, which was an easy one for me this month. I have been dying to continue the Blood Gray series. This is book 2. Book 1 was Blood Mercy. It is a vampire fantasy romance, and I adored book 1, 4 stars. I thought it was so fun. It was like epic fantasy and fantasy romance all mixed in together, and I really loved the scale and the scope of the first book, so I really do need to continue. And I mean, it's a vampire book, so vampire books in October make the most sense to me. Doesn't it to you? 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for our last roll, we landed on Blurbed, which is a book that has to be blurbed by a author that I've previously liked a book from. I picked a Hob blurb, and Hob has done me dirty before, so this is a very scary blurb. I don't typically trust the Hob blurbs, even though I love Hob books. But I'm going with Empire the Vampire by J. Kristoff. Again, October vampire books. I can't let my fantasy roots be completely forgotten in October, so although I'm reading a lot of horror, I still want to get those spooky fantasy reads on, and I think vampire books are the perfect way to do that. I'm really excited about this one. I know absolutely nothing about this book. I think that the vampires now rule the world because we're in like eternal night, but we are following a main character whose only goal is to kill the vampires, but he's currently kidnapped by the vampires. Me just realizing J. Kristoff wrote a series about it never being night, and so now made a series about it always being night. What's next? That's about all I know. After enjoying the Nevernight Chronicles, I wanted to pick up Empire the Vampire, so that's why I'm doing that. And now we move on to Spookoplothoon. Let's see what the board has in store for me. I'm just gonna use this bobby pin right here. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Green. And with our first roll, we landed on green. Now, some may argue this book is blue. Some may be me. But for the purpose of this video, I'm gonna argue that it leans a little bit more green and count it as green. Just Like Mother by Anne Helsel. Again, I know nothing about this book. I know that there's a cult in it, and I know that Lexi loves it, and once Lexi made herself the cover, and it was iconic, incredible, amazing, everything I could have ever wished for. And that's about it. But I want to read it. Spooky season is the right time to do that. So here I am, putting it on my TBR. Roll 2. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Spooky. And the next prompt we landed on was just spooky. So I gotta pick a horror book. I'm picking The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. I mean, I think this is more of a thriller. Again, I don't know a lot about this one. It is, again, a cult book. We're following a main character who escaped with her friend, escaped the cult she was in. But when she hears about her friend's death on a podcast, she goes back to the place she thought she'd never go back to check out and figure out what exactly happened. I've heard that this book is very, very deep and effed up, and I'm very excited about it, which I don't know what that says about me as a person. I know there's lots of triggers in it. I personally have no triggers, so I'm going in blind and don't want to know about them. But I know that if you are picking this up and you do have some triggers, definitely check those out before jumping into this. 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mary Shelley. And then we landed on Mary Shelley, which is a book that has like science in it. So I'm picking Parasite by Darcy Coates. This is about a parasitic alien that lands into a spaceship and what it does and how it takes over and like all of that. Again, it's a Darcy Coates book. I'm really excited to see how this goes. I think Darcy does incredible atmosphere in her haunted house stories, and I'm excited to see it in space. I know that this has a interesting way of being told in that it's not like one big narrative, but instead we jump around like ships and the stories don't necessarily continue but also continue, and I'm really interested to see that. Darcy Coates just never lets me down, and I just am excited decided to read her entire backlist. So this was a perfect time to put Parasite on it. But it is a chunky boy.
3. 1, 2, 3. Black Cat.
And then we landed on Black Cat, which if I had checked out what the prompts meant when I filmed my rolls, I probably would have re-rolled, because there's a rule to do that, because I don't have any books with cats on them. Because I didn't, I've decided to stretch the prompt. You know, a cat is a nightmare of a creature sometimes. They're little demons in the night. So I've decided to do a book with a demon on it, because if you've had a kitten, you know that they are little demons. Cute, adorable demons, but they're little demons. So that's my stretch of the prompt, and we will be reading Slewfoot by Brahm. I just love this book so much, the way it looks, like a nice table book. So I'm hoping I love it. I don't know anything about this book. I go into horror so blind. I don't know how any booktubers talk about horror on their channels. Fantasy, I can give you a synopsis. I know a decent amount about them, but I want to know literally nothing about my horror books. It's just a vibe I get. It's I can't tell you about them. So how do people have horror booktube channels and do this all the time? Do they tell you about the books? Because I know nothing about this. There's some witchcraft, there's a wood, it's set in a forest, you know, and there's a demon called Slewfoot. That's all I know. But I feel like this aesthetic matches quite a bit.
5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A Toffee Apple.
And for our final roll, we landed on Toffee Apple, which is a book that you just can't put down. I was gonna pick a fantasy romance for this, but then I decided to pick up Head Like a Hole because I'm currently actually reading this, but I won't be done it for October. I'm only 10% in, so it'll be a carryover. This has chapters that make me never want to put the book down. I still have to because I'm reading other stuff currently within September, but this is the first book of a vlog for October, and I don't want to put it down when I'm reading it. They're so addicting. The endings are so weird. I'm always what the heck is going on? And I just want to keep reading. So I'm gonna put Head Like a Hole on this. I'm gonna tell you nothing about it. Just look at this cover and decide you want to read it, because the cover is cool and it's really, really weird. That's all I gotta say. There we go. We've reached the end of my TBR video. Actually, both boards were pretty nice to me. Didn't land on some doubles, didn't land on some snakes. So what more could I ask for? I could have been attacked by a werewolf, before this or something. A little reminder for the book clubs, definitely please check these out. Holy Sister you'll already know about because you've read the other two, but if you haven't already, check out the Lights Out Book Club. They read a lot of fun books and I'm so excited to have this conversation with them. Also, I didn't talk about readathons. Oh my god. I'm gonna talk about readathons now. I am participating in 2, maybe 3 readathons. So Spookopothon, obviously, because of this, but I also will be participating for sure in Halloweekend, which is a readathon created by Books with Lexi. It's incredible, amazing. Every weekend, Thursday to Sunday, there's a mini readathon with a lot of community-based things. There are game things, activity things to go along with the reading sprints. There are 5 hosts, and it's a whole heck of a lot of fun. I couldn't participate in last year when it was created, so I'm very excited to try and go ham a little bit for it this year. I also need to find a partner still for the Graveyard Smash to participate in that, which is a readathon created by the Bright and Bookish, or Sarah. This is going to be a lot of fun. They've put in a lot of work into it. It's like Battleship, but with reading. I'm not going to explain it really well. I'm not going to do it justice, so definitely watch the announcement videos for both of these readathons. I will link them down below. Essentially, you are placing your bodies, because there's a graveyard, in different spots on the board, and you're not going to show the friend that you're playing against. You do need a partner, but they have a Discord to find partners. You'll be reading books throughout the month for prompts, and when you read a prompt, you'll be like, oh, G7, and then your partner will tell you whether you hit the body or not, and you're trying to find your partner's bodies before they find your bodies, just like in Battleship. Both of these are such unique styles of readathons. I'm really excited to participate in both of them, and I hope you do as well. Again, I will have all the announcement videos linked down below, including Becca's for Spookopothon. And just like that, we are over. The TBR has been completed. If you'd like to leave me an emoji to say you were here, leave me some kind of wolf or Little Red Riding Hood style type emoji. I think a wolf would work really well. And then if you want to connect with me on other platforms, my Bookstagram, my Book Twitter, my Goodreads, and my Patreon are all linked in the description bar below. Have yourselves an absolutely incredible day.